Since the beginning of time, people have struggled with life-controlling habits and behaviors commonly known as addictions. Opium is still the most widely used illicit drug throughout the world. In the U.S. today, prescription drugs have now surpassed marijuana as the #1 abused substance by young adults and teens. Over the past 40 years here in the United States, our government has spent over $1 trillion in the fight against drugs. A recent headline announced that untreated addictions are at all-time highs, reaching pandemic levels here in the U.S. According to the top 3 search engines, Google, Yahoo, and Bing, combined there are over 400 million unique addiction-related internet searches each and every month. That's more than the entire population of the United States. The following statistics reveal just how pervasive drug and alcohol addictions are in the United States. These statistics do not reflect the untreated drug and alcohol abuse that is rampant in our country, nor do they reflect other addiction problems such as pornography, gambling, and other addictions. Here are the statistics. In 1966, the American Medical Association classified alcohol abuse as a disease. In 1974, they classified drug abuse as a disease. Approximately 14 million Americans meet the diagnostic criteria for alcohol abuse, or what they call alcoholism. 1 in 4 deaths in the U.S. can be attributed to alcohol, tobacco, or illicit drug use. In 2010, there was an estimated 22.6 million Americans over the age of 12 that were current or former illicit drug users within the last month of when the survey was given. This equates to almost 9% of the population aged 12 or older. Each year, drug abuse and drug addiction costs employers over $122 billion in lost productivity and another $15 billion in health insurance costs. Since 1990, the number of individuals who take prescription drugs illegally is believed to have risen by over 500%. The United States accounts for only 5% of the world's population. However, 2/3 of illegal drugs are consumed in America. Nearly 20% of United States residents spanning between the ages of 16 and 59 have experimented illegally with drugs at least once in their lifetime. In fact, according to the Mayo Clinic, nearly 20 million Americans 12 and older have engaged in illegal drug use. In the United States, approximately 1 in 4 children younger than 18 years old is exposed to alcohol abuse or some other dependency in the family. These statistics show that the problems surrounding addictions are not getting better. They're getting worse. There are no typical addicts today. No longer is the addict only the person living under the bridge or staggering around the back alleyways of our cities and towns. The addict of today is the person you work with, the person you attend church with, and the family member who you would never believe has an addiction problem. Addictions have taken a terrible toll on every segment of our society. With hundreds of plush, resort-style drug treatment facilities around the country and millions of dollars spent in research and study to find effective treatments, why are addictions at an all-time high and rising annually? Let's look at the alleged cause of addictions that has gained such a stronghold in our secular institutions and sadly even many of our religious institutions as well. The humanistic view of the cause of addictions, particularly drug and alcohol abuse, as indicated by the above statistics, is that the addict is the victim of an illness or disease. The secular experts say that there is a malfunctioning gene in the DNA that makes a person act out their addiction behaviors. They therefore view this malfunctioning gene as the starting point for addiction behavior. Because this theory is so widely accepted as the cause of addictions, most addiction research and study by scientists and medical research facilities is based upon this false assumption that addictions are caused by an illness or disease. These treatments and solutions, regardless of how futile they may be, are therefore developed from this humanistic point of view. This belief removes all responsibility on the part of the individual to not engage in illicit behavior, and may also remove any accountability for their actions. Because those in authority over the scientists and researchers refuse to acknowledge the existence of God and our accountability to Him, they also deny the one common factor in all addiction behaviors. This one common factor is that man has a fallen nature that dictates his actions and behaviors in an attempt to fulfill the desires of his flesh. These authorities, along with the scientists and researchers, must deny this fallen nature as the basis of addiction behavior, because to acknowledge it as truth would be to admit that they will one day answer to a righteous and holy God. God tells us in His Word, the Bible, that because of original disobedience to God in the Garden of Eden, all men now have a natural tendency to break the laws of God. This behavior is called sin. The sins of idolatry, lust, and pride are at the root of all addictions. Now, by placing more emphasis on disorders, assessments, and treatment protocols instead of obedience to God's Word, we have inadvertently created an environment, even within the Christian community, where men are victims of their own behaviors instead of the perpetrators of sinful acts. God also said in His Word that the church is the pillar and ground of the truth. If the world is going to hear the truth about addictions and recovery, they're going to hear it from believers in the church. It is the church's responsibility to first reach the addict with the gospel of Jesus Christ, then to train or disciple the addict in the ways of God so they can live a life that is not only holy, but that is productive in society as well. The very reason the world has taken the lead in addiction recovery programs and failed solutions is because the church has failed to shoulder its responsibility to reach addicts with the gospel. For too many years, the church has pushed the addict out of the congregation and into the streets. The church has left off the task of helping the addict to the world. For this reason, addicts are one of, if not the, largest unreached groups of people in the world. The solution to addiction behaviors is the proper view that only through a relationship with Jesus Christ can any person, not just the addict, live a life that is pleasing to God. The correct view of addiction and recovery is that addiction recovery is not the goal. The goal must be a daily significant relationship with Jesus Christ. When a daily relationship with Jesus Christ is the goal, just as other undisciplined behaviors change, addiction recovery also becomes a byproduct of this relationship. Even though we believe that any program that helps a person be productive in society has value to that society, we know the solution to addiction recovery is not some vague, self-defined higher power or conformity to a list of 12 humanistic ideals. The most effective method of reaching and restoring an addict to God is through a systematic teaching of biblical truths. There is a group of people who are pioneering the way to true and lasting freedom from life-controlling behaviors and habits. These are the people at Transformed Life Ministries. Transformed Life Ministries offers the most comprehensive list of addiction recovery programs for the addict and others that is available today. We offer addiction recovery training classes for pastors and their staff, ministry lay workers, missionaries, college students, or even family members who simply want to help reach and restore loved ones who are in bondage to addictions of all types. All of our classes are available through printed material, digital media, and as online courses at tluonline.com. By working through local church members, Transformed Life Ministries makes available all the tools necessary for the local church to reach addicts in their community. We work with local churches to establish an effective biblical approach to teaching people how to overcome life-controlling habits and behaviors. To learn more about Transformed Life Ministries and the training programs that we offer, please visit transformedlifeministries.com.